Hello, Cancer, and welcome to Soul Guidance with Adriana. Today I have a collective soul guidance reading for you. Reading for you. This reading will focus on communication from your soul and higher self, as well as your guides. Any information that those higher energies want you to know about your situation and about what you're supposed to be learning in your situation. I will also be creating an extended from this reading, so we'll continue this story after that. The link is in the description below. And last thing, please keep in mind this is a collective reading. We're looking at patterns and flow. The details are going to differ from person to person. If you are interested in a private reading with more specific information to you, I do offer those as well, and you can find out more on my website, Soul Guidance with Adriana. Again, link is in the description below. I'm having an issue here because I have small hands and a big deck. So shuffling's always a little bit awkward. We're actually going to start with an animal oracle message for you just to get us started. Okay. Message for Cancer. Dog, loyalty and companionship. The hare, cycles, and intuition, the cat. Now that's really interesting because we've got dog and cat, both domestic animals. You know, some people say, well, I'm a dog person or I'm a cat person. So that's really interesting. And then the rabbit in the middle, and in some Asian cultures, the rabbit and the cat are actually kind of similar. So we're looking at familiar energy in your environment. And what it looks like to me is that it's kind of this shift from the outside to the inside. So outside to the inside. It's interesting if you look at it this way, because the dog is a more outgoing animal, even the quiet ones, even the quiet, sweet ones. Their focus is more external because of the way that they understand hierarchy. You know, they're kind of always looking to the alpha to see, am I doing things right? Or if they believe they're the alpha, they're saying, is everyone else doing things right? So their focus is more external. And we're going into a cycle of more internal focus. So this cat is looking over here, but then we're like going through to a more internal focus where you're looking at more, not just what's going on inside, but it looks to me like this is the opening or the kind of awakening point where you start to rely more on your own intuition and your own instincts rather than what the herd is doing, rather than what the pack is doing. You're not just doing what your family or your friends or peer group or what everyone else is doing. You're coming to the end of that cycle and you're starting a new cycle where you're going to be more in touch with yourself, and that's going to make you more self-sufficient and independent, and perhaps also a little lighter. Cats are playful because the only person they have to answer to is themselves. I personally love both cats and dogs, but I keep cats because it's easier for me to have a little more freedom in my schedule. And when I say I keep cats, that's not really a great way of putting it, because you don't keep cats. They tolerate your presence, right? And you end up being their wait staff. So, but the point is that cats are totally self-involved and they think the world should revolve around them. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to you, but instead of running to try to fit yourself into the way the world thinks you should be, you're going to start saying it's more just self-directed, like, no, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and this is what I am getting from myself. This is what my intuition is telling me to do. Okay. So, what is going on in Cancer's world right now? King of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, and the Hermit. Okay, now are these actual people or are these energies within Cancer? And I'm getting that it's both. Okay. Cancer, this is looking into who you really are, Who do you feel you really are without the influence of other people? This is going back to the self-sufficiency and self-definition of the cat. Who are you really? And your soul is asking you to have a relationship that is with yourself that's actually more honest. Because right now, you're not who you think you are. There's parts of you that just really don't resonate with who you are deeply. This is really looking deep at what's inside you. This isn't superficial stuff like, well, I like fish or I like cheese. It's not like that kind of thing to tell you who you are. This is deeper. What is the story of you? Who is that? And the Hermit is asking you to take a deep look at what that story is. What do you tell yourself at the very fundamental level? Do you see yourself as still a child? Do you see yourself as still looking for the approval of others? Do you see yourself whole? Or do you see yourself needing someone else to make you feel a certain way? Do you see yourself as independent? Do you see yourself as being on your own path? Do you see yourself needing the company of others at all times? I mean, what is the story you're telling yourself about yourself? Are you someone who can make up your own mind? Are you someone who knows enough to make your own decisions? And whoever that person is, the spread is asking you to challenge all of that, okay? And who you are telling yourself, who you believe you are, may not have been any of the things I mentioned, but you're telling yourself a specific story, and the Hermit is saying, is that story really true? And the reason for this is because you are needing to enter a deeper relationship with yourself on the who you really are level. Do you see yourself as someone who's in control of their life and their circumstances, who has the power to attract anything they want? Or do you see yourself at the mercy of your circumstances? There's a question there. And whatever you believe, the Hermit is saying to you, is this really true? Because it's going to be impossible to form authentic connections and relationships, from our King of Cups there, if you are not authentic and truthful with yourself about who you really are. Okay, so what is blocking Cancer from understanding this? What is blocking Cancer? Okay, we've got the Lord, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Seven of Cups. So for some of you, this is delusions about the father figure, the authority figure from your childhood. Not really seeing who this person was for what they were. Believing that the control they had and all of the say that they had in your childhood, believing that was a good thing for you. Because I'm feeling that actually, you maybe wanted to go a different way than what this energy was wanting you to do. But because you couldn't reconcile that independent way from this authority figure, you kind of got lost in the dynamic of the family. And in believing that if you did what this person said, you would gain acceptance, you would become a part of that family. So that's one layer. What's another layer? The Lord is also talking about you, Cancer, and the rigidity you have with yourself, with some things you're believing about yourself. But also the overprotective, it's like under and overprotectiveness at the same time. What's happening, Cancer, is sometimes you're too emotionally raw. You leave yourself completely unprotected, and then you get hurt or you get disappointed. And so because that happens, then part of you hardens and says, okay, I'm never letting anyone in again. But that's the opposite extreme. And what you're missing in all of that is the discernment to know when you can trust and when you can't trust, to know who you can trust and who you can't trust. There's you think of like golden retriever puppies. They go to everything and everyone, and they're so curious, and they want to get into everything, and that's not always the safest way, and they learn very quickly, right? I shouldn't put my nose into a porcupine, or I shouldn't really try to run through barbed wire, or that person is maybe not a good person to go to. They learn quickly, but they start from that place of openness. And if all goes well and they have the love and the nurturing and the healthy environment, they learn discernment. They learn to be happy and open around people they feel good about. They learn not to stick their noses in places where they might get hurt. But they don't shut down unless there is extreme trauma to them. And we're the same way. It's the emotional traumas that affect us the most deeply. It's not getting stung or sticking your finger in a socket. It's not the physical shock. It's the emotional surprise that stays with us. So Cancer, your soul or yourself is having a hard time kind of vacillating between being overprotective of the self and underprotected of the self. And you're more likely at this point to be underprotected, but what happens is you walk off being underprotected, and then you immediately go back to that overprotection, and then for some time passes or a new situation happens and you go back in. So being aware of that block, where we're going with all of this is that if you truly know yourself, it is much easier to discern where other people are coming from, what their intentions are, what you should get involved with and what not. Because you will also be able to form healthier boundaries for yourself, Queen of Pentacles. And you won't have to be so armored, so rigid. You see who's wearing that armor underneath? You won't have to subject yourself to that level of, I gotta self-protect. Okay, Cancer, if you want the rest of this story, please follow me over in the extended reading. The link is below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me with this soul-guided message, and I'll see you next time.